Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today, I unfortunately have to make a video on someone that I didn't want to have to make a video on, but she has continuously popped up on everyone's recommended. She's been crossing lines that she really shouldn't be crossing. So, I'm going to be covering, you guessed it, that vegan teacher. I'm not happy about it because I had to sit there for 30 minutes listening to her voice incessantly. I have clips from other channels, namely Daz Games, and I have several clips from hers, and it's really painful to listen to. So, while I'm editing this, you guys are probably going to hear a lot of different changes in my voice because unfortunately I do not have ties with people on YouTube to take over for me so that they can do more video stuff for me instead of me having to do it all myself. So, today's main topic is just completely debunking all of her points as a, quote, vegan. I do not agree with the majority of her views, as she has shown some pretty significant signs of just shoving her beliefs down people's throats, and it's incredibly annoying. A lot of you guys will know, if you know who the vegan teacher is, of course, that she will not stop until everyone on Earth is vegan, and unfortunately, that is not something that's ever going to happen. There are people with health conditions that stop them from being able to go fully vegan or being able to go fully pescatarian or vegetarian or anything like that. I know that there are underlying health conditions with a lot of people that will prevent them from being able to do something like that, which, understandable. If you want to be vegan, that's fine. Just don't shove it down people's throats like she does. I'm going to show a few clips here and there in between some of my points, and I'm also going to talk about what she says in each clip.
And especially to you, PewDiePie. PewDiePie is a new student here in class.
Now, in this clip, she's talking about PewDiePie and a video that he had covered about fish and like where they come from, how they're made, stuff like that. She does this role play thing where she teaches in a classroom and basically just takes everything out of context. That's all she does. She barely even puts in the effort to even do her research as to what the video is. She probably watches like maybe 10 seconds of the video to see like, oh, is this a video worth covering? Now, unfortunately, when she does cover videos, she's not very open-minded about it, especially if it's a video on someone who is a big YouTuber, like PewDiePie, for example. She also did one on Daz Games. She did one on Cocomelon. I have clips from those two videos, but the video that got her banned from TikTok, I will also be showing a clip of that one and the TikTok from before that as well. So let's get into the next point. This will also be part of the PewDiePie video.
He's got fries, which are vegan. He is showing us a vegan burger packed with veggies there. And he also has some vegan nuggets. This is great.
That wasn't vegan. It was not vegan even in the slightest. None of that was vegan. I even watched PewDiePie's video. Sive specifically looked up meat burger. Meat. He didn't look up vegan. He didn't look up vegetarian, anything. That is a meat burger. All of that was on that plate, other than the potato chips. Not the potato chips, the fries. That was all meat. Because Sive didn't look up, like, vegan stuff. Because we're not going to comply to your point of view, vegan teacher. No one's going to comply to anyone's point of view once it gets shoved down their throats.
Starting off with the #1 delicious meal, aquarium fish.
Aquariums have been around for hundreds of years. Even now, having a body of water in a glass box seems like magic. The most common aquarium...
No, it doesn't. It says water in a glass.
Exactly, PewDiePie. There's nothing magical about taking fish and putting them in a tight container.
That was literally not even the point of why he said, no, it's not. It's just glass and water. That wasn't the point of what he was saying. He was saying it's not magic, it's just a glass with water and fish in it. This is what that vegan teacher doesn't get. When people are watching stuff like that, like PewDiePie's video on the fish, that was not the point of what he was talking about. That whole video, he was not talking about, vegan related crap. I don't give a flying shit if you are vegan. Just don't shove it in my face and say, you're a terrible person for eating meat. Because I, for one, will never ever stop eating the food that I love and enjoy. And that includes things like salmon, bison, elk, foods like that. I enjoy meat. There's a lot of people in this world that enjoy meat. And that's clearly something that Katie Karen, Miss Vegan Teacher, cannot understand or comprehend. Is that other people have a dietary choice, whether it's medical or not, that they choose to eat. And it is something that they want to eat. I'm going to tell you now, Miss Katie Karen, that vegan teacher, throughout the entire gameplay that I have in the background of this video, I am in a cold environment where there are little to no animals spawning. There's barely any plants spawning for me to even get food from. Sweet berries don't spawn in this environment. I was resorted to eating rotten flesh. And when I did get my hands on some food, I didn't have very much of it. This is a very good example of another one of my points. If you, vegan teacher, were stuck in the wilderness with no access to plant-based foods, period, the end, and you were starving, you would eat whatever you can get your hands on, regardless whether it's poisonous or not. If it's edible, you would eat it. That is how humans work. We are omnivorous creatures. We are not herbivores, like you wish us to be.
Goldfish are a type of carp known for their love of crowded, compact, and bare environments.
What?
Oh, they like
They
that? I
tend
didn't
to
know
be
that.
silver.
Oh, did you see his reaction? Listen, he's questioning. He's like, oh, they like that? I didn't know that.
Now, the point that's being brought up in this clip is the narrator of this video is talking about how goldfish are a type of carp and they enjoy being in crowded spaces. That is actually true. There are types of fish that enjoy being in large schools that are close and compact. It doesn't mean that you can shove your views in there and be like, oh, they like that? And question it like in a skeptical way, like, oh, they totally don't like that. That's not something that an animal like that enjoys. There are several species of fish around the world, like tuna, that gather in huge schools, and they prefer numbers because it keeps them safe.
Really? They want to be in a place like that where they can't even swim without bumping into people all the time?
Yeah, that's the entire point of a school of fish. Is so that they can bump into each other and be very close to each other at all times, because it keeps them safe from predators. Why do you think there are massive schools of fish that swim around in the ocean, and there's very, very well documented videos on National Geo Wild specifically to document oceanic life like that? Why do you think there's so many videos of massive swarms of fish being together like that, so close together that they hit each other all the time? That's literally an instinct that they have. It's not something that you, as a human being who likes both isolation and social interaction, can understand. Because it is an emotion and instinct that only a fish, only an animal that is preyed upon by everything, can understand. Humans are apex predators. We eat pretty much anything. You don't understand that, vegan teacher. You clearly don't. You were probably never educated properly. I'll be completely honest with you. That's probably why you are so insufferable.
But will sometimes turn gold if they are sick.
What? Oh, this is terrible. Why would you want to keep sick and injured animals locked up in a cage?
No, I don't know. Maybe to help them get better? You do realize that people who have pets will keep their pets isolated from other animals in their house so that the sickness doesn't spread. That's how humans work as well. If one animal gets sick and it's separated from the others, it's to stop the spread. And when you have a pet animal like a fish or a rabbit or a dog or a cat and it gets sick, it's better if they are in an environment where they can rest. Because when an animal like that gets sick, you want it to rest. Because in a lot of cases, it's a lot harder to treat the sickness of an animal than it is a human, because humans can vocalize when they are sick and what hurts and what doesn't feel good. Animals, we do not understand them. We cannot understand where it hurts or where they feel sick. So we have to check every possible part of their body, like their body temperature, their limbs, regardless of what animal it is. We have to look at it carefully because they can't tell us themselves. That's why you would want to keep an injured or sick animal in a cage. It can also stop them from hurting others as well as themselves. So stop questioning why people keep injured and sick animals in cages away from others so that they can heal and not hurt themselves or others. Because they can do that when they're sick, they can do that when they're injured. It is a very obvious answer to a stupid question, vegan teacher.
Like all fish, goldfish start their lives as eggs.
Look at her handling them. As if she's handling cutlery, taking forks and knives out of a drawer or something. This is terrible.
So I'm assuming she hasn't seen the video of that big pop-eyed goldfish that loves being handled by its owner. It literally shoves its head into the hand of its owner, and if the owner doesn't wrap his hand around the fish, pick it up out of the water, and gently toss it in the water, it gets mad at him. There are animals that enjoy it when they are thrown very gently like that, especially fish. If they are close enough with their owner, they love it when they're played with like that, because it feels like their owner loves them and that their owner is just having fun and they're playing with their owner. That's the only way that a fish can do that. There's no way for a fish to play with their owner other than for them to have physical contact with that person. And it's difficult for fish to even do that in the first place. So I'm assuming you've never seen the video of that big goldfish that loves being thrown by his owner. Because you're freaking out over a lady handling these fish that are being farmed. She's not being rough with them. She's picking them up gently and then moving them to the next container. She's not hurting them. They're not getting hurt in the process of this moving at all. They're fine. You're just overreacting. Jeez.
As if there's some kind of an object. Taking them out of the water, that would be like somebody taking us and pushing us into the water.
As if attempting to drown a human isn't the worst thing that can happen to us.
Their strength.
Ew! What? Stop!
Stop! Exactly. Did you hear him? He said stop. Just
Yeah, vegan teacher, he meant stop as in that's grossing him out. It's not like, stop, that's not ethical. You're just taking words out of his mouth that he never even said. Literally, that's what you're doing.
anybody who hears the animal suffering or sees them suffering should immediately yell stop.
Well, that's interesting. You would never do that for a human, now would you? You've always said that you would rather humans die out and animals take over. Not directly, but you definitely imply it in several of your videos, and it's not even funny when you do that. It's not a funny joke. I mean, sometimes I remark it would probably be better if a lot of humanity wasn't around, because, yeah, we are destroying our planet. I agree with you on that one. But you have no right to be that disgusting towards humans, because you are like that constantly. Comparing what happens in certain food industries to the Holocaust is not funny, and it is also completely untrue. That is the most disgusting thing that comes out of your mouth, other than comparing the LGBT community to the cruelty of animals. Not every company does that to their animals. I've seen some of the clips of what can go down in the food industry. I've seen some clips. It's not pretty. That's not every single corporation. As a matter of fact, the only food, meat, or dairy or egg wise that I actually intentionally purchase is when it's labeled specifically cage free or grass fed. Because I don't want to buy from massive corporations in case they are like that. But I'm not going to stop eating animal products because animal products are good and it is part of the human diet to be able to consume food like that. That is why we have canines and why we have molars.
So happy that you're becoming vegan.
He never said he was.
The strong goldfish are forced to mate with each other.
No!
Oh my god, that is rape, that is torture, that is sexual assault.
They're animals. Do you want to know how a duck evolved to be able to mate? Yeah. A male duck's, you know, is the shape of a corkscrew to navigate a female. They evolved specifically for the purpose of mating. In the most... I don't even know how to describe it. Like, the way that they are designed for mating would actually be considered sexual assault. That is exactly what that would be considered because of the way that they evolved to mate. And yet you call that rape, torture, sexual assault? That's what you want to call that? Now, I'll be honest, vegan teacher. If you weren't built like the strays that are standing over there in the background, I would actually want to throw hands, but unfortunately, because you're built exactly like those creatures that are shooting at me right now, I'm afraid that you'd fall apart. That you'd fall apart from a gust of wind touching you. I'm not gonna throw hands with a literal skeleton. I'm sorry. And there's a lot of people that would love to throw hands with you because you're so insufferable with your points and your points of view that you bring up and all of the absolute garbage that you just spew out, like comparing what animals go through to the Holocaust. That's not even acceptable. Like, there's a reason why people don't like you, vegan teacher. And I'm eventually going to be bringing up the point as to why you got banned from TikTok.
This site is called don'twatch.org, all right? I want you to watch this video. It's only 6 minutes long.
Now, we're going to be moving on to the next clips of another vegan teacher video. This one in particular is going to be about the video she did on Cocomelon, which is a YouTube channel specifically targeting kids. It is for nursery rhymes and general basic education for young children, such as toddlers and infants. And the video I'm talking about is when she covered Bob Bob Black Sheep. It is a nursery rhyme that has been taught for generations, and Cocomelon happens to have an animation to go with this nursery rhyme, because that's the whole point of their channel, is to make a kid-friendly animation that makes it more fun for the kids to learn the nursery rhymes. So
let's hope that this channel is teaching them properly.
Oh, and you would know proper, miss. I got fired from my job.
So right away, this is kind of an old-fashioned way of teaching kids about animals. You know, old McDonald's farm, that type of thing. It just doesn't exist anymore. By far, the vast amount of animals on this planet are used. They are eaten, they are worn.
Yeah, how else do you think people get their clothing? Or their shoes? Or, well, not in all cases, but some cases, jewelry. Or dream catchers, or picture frames, pictures even. Yeah, how do you think we get that stuff? We have to use animal products. We've been using animal products since the dawn of the time we were able to use tools in the first place. You need to remember, vegan teacher, humans are resourceful. We use whatever we can get to make stuff that's more convenient for us. And your point on saying that farms like that aren't really in use anymore is completely dead wrong, because I can tell you now, driving along the countryside on a major highway across the entire United States, I've seen well over 45 different farms with open pastures for their animals, not just horses, cows and sheep too. And I can tell you exactly where one of those types of farms are in my home state. And I've seen the animals walking around, doing their thing, being animals, and chilling. I can tell you now, that point is dead wrong.
Oh, what's going on? All right, so we have a little kid here coming to do something to the sheep, and clearly this sheep is not happy and trying to get away.
Vegan teacher, if you had actually paid attention to what the video started as, the kid had a bunch of materials to clean the sheep with. That's what was in the bucket. It was soap, it was a scrubby, and that bucket was to be filled with water. That's the sole purpose why that kid had the bucket. You didn't pay attention to that because all you're paying attention to is, oh, this animal that's been digitally rendered in an animation software is being abused. Oh my god.
So this sheep knows what's going on. The sheep has clearly been abused in some way by this kid before.
Abused? Really? I have never met a single animal on the face of this earth that liked baths. We're gonna bathe an animal whether they like it or not because not only is it good for them, it also stops them from smelling really bad around us too. It's good to clean up animals. And you're now saying, oh, this kid abused this poor digitally rendered animal. Woo! It's an animation. It's an animated animal. It's not real. The fuck's wrong with you?
Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool?
Now, vegan teacher, before you go off on a little rant about how all this animal's being abused, the motion that the kid made right before it switched scenes was an ugh, not again, as if the animal has run off at bath time before, which isn't surprising because most animals that do that don't like getting bathed even though it's good for them. Most animals don't understand that it's better for them to be bathed by the person who takes care of them rather than letting themselves clean themselves because they don't always get in those spots that can actually get infected and get them sick. Now, the second motion that the kid made was a come here beckoning motion. And before you go off on your little rant like, oh, this animal doesn't want to go with you, the kid is asking this animal to come here, it's bath time. The kid is literally telling the sheep, it's bath time, come on, let's go. Let's go take your bath, come on. It's not being abused.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, this is not okay. So the song is Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? And the sheep is clearly saying, no, I don't have any wool for you. The wool belongs to me. Leave me alone.
That is literally not what's happening in the video. You're not paying attention to the animation, you're paying attention to the music. In the animation, the kid wants to give this sheep a bath. And he's motioning for this sheep to come here, like as in, come here, it's bath time. The sheep doesn't want to get bathed because animals are stubborn that way. All animals are like that. I have a dog who hates getting baths, but he loves jumping into bodies of water to swim after ducks. There's a contradiction in all animals where they don't like getting bathed, but they're willing to get in water when they feel like it. An animal needs to get bathed to stay healthy, because if you leave an animal unbathed for too long, they can get sick.
Got the sheep that's trying to get away,
For the master.
and the child is trying to stop the sheep.
Yeah, I wonder why. How many times have I reinstated that this sheep needs to get a bath, and that's the exact reason why this animation was made? The exact start of this video was that kid carrying a bucket full of materials to clean the animal with? Did you not understand that? Are you not paying attention, or are you blind? I mean, being blind would make sense considering you're wearing glasses. I mean, I'm not one to speak, but even still. It's very obvious that your optical nerves have stopped working because you are not paying attention to the animation. You're solely paying attention to your own beliefs and the song. That's it.
Sheep's not happy. The sheep is not consenting to this.
How many times do I have to say that the animal in the video is an animated animal? It's not real.
What are you talking about? You're going to take the sheep's wool and you're just going to give it away to random people? Sheep's wool belongs on them.
You say that sheep's wool belongs on them and their body. Now, here's the funny thing about domesticated sheep. I looked this up while editing this video. So, according to Google and several different sources that were right on the Google page, domesticated sheep wool does not stop growing. In the wild, it does. It stops at a certain length, but if it doesn't stop in domesticated sheep, it can become so overgrown that it can cause serious health concerns such as ticks and the inability to move. It can also cause a heat stroke if it is hot outside. So, the fact that you are conveying the message that a sheep's wool should not be shorn is so wrong and so deadly to that animal that you have no right to speak at this point. Here's the Google page from when I looked this up, just to prove to you that I actually looked this up. It says you can get ticks as a sheep that is overgrown. That's an image of a sheep named Shrek that was found with overgrown wool. Now, your point about the whole wool thing is, again, so dead wrong. It's unbelievable. If you were a farmer that had sheep, or you had a pet domesticated sheep instead of a wild one that happened to be a rescue or whatever, then you would be so neglectful to a sheep that you wouldn't even shear its wool just to keep it from overheating or stop it from getting ticks. That is extremely wrong of you. Not shearing a domesticated sheep is actually considered both neglect and abuse. So your point is now completely invalid.
This lie that people tell. They say, oh, we need to shave the sheep because otherwise they'll be uncomfortable. No, what we need to do is stop breeding sheep to begin with.
I already showed the evidence to prove that shearing a sheep, domesticated sheep, is actually good for the animal, so I'm not even going to touch on that part. But I am going to touch on the part that you said we should stop breeding sheep. That would be like saying stop breeding endangered animals back into existence to stop them from going completely extinct. You are quite literally advocating for the extinction of a species of animal. Isn't that what you were completely against? Against the extinction of an animal because, I mean, obviously you think everything related to animals is animal abuse, including the proper care. I guarantee you, if you watched a video of a horse or a donkey having its hoofs clipped and having them cleaned out and pitted, I guarantee you that you would say, oh, that must hurt the animals so much. No, it's basically like if you were to go into a nail salon and get your nails clipped and cleaned around, like all the skin around your fingernails and your toenails. That's exactly what that's like for a horse. It cleans out everything that's in there, it stops infections, that's what it does. You would freak out over that because that's how you are, vegan teacher.
Why does the little boy who lives down the lane need to have some kind of wool from a sheep?
Why do humans need to wear clothing? Same question. When wool is used to make clothing, it makes it easier for us to be able to go into colder environments because wool is one of those materials that keeps heat in. That's why, theoretically, if a person sheared a sheep and sent it to the kid down the lane, like said in the fucking song, it would be for the purpose of making clothing, if not already made clothing, so that they can wear it and not be cold.
How would you like it if somebody came and just started taking off your hair off your head?
I mean, if someone did that to you, I'd laugh my ass off. You've got a mop for a head, so I would say it's very amusing to watch someone just yoink all your hair. It would be funny as hell. Besides that, most humans have a gene that makes them start balding once they start getting older anyways, so there's literally no point in even bringing up that little point of yours, because humans lose their hair, so do animals. Animals can end up with diseases that make their fur or wool or whatever patchy. It's a sad reality, but it's true.
What's funny about that? You just caused this harm to this sheep by chasing her and trying to do something to her that she doesn't want.
Really? You're getting mad over a child, a literal infant, laughing. Really? I know this was brought up by several other content creators who made commentary videos on this specific video that you made, Vegan Teacher, but I never got my opportunity to put in my 2 cents since this is my first time making a video on you. And I'm gonna tell you this now. Babies laugh at everything. My little sister, when she was a baby, would laugh her ass off whenever I pretended to be hurt or when I was actually hurt. I was a little offended when I was actually hurt, but when I pretended to be hurt, I did it solely to make her laugh. Babies laugh at everything. It doesn't matter whether it's someone getting hurt or not. They think everything's funny because they're learning about the world, and they don't understand that when someone gets hurt, that it hurts that person. That's why I pretended to get hurt to make my little sister laugh. So now you're getting mad over an animated baby laughing at something that is not even that big of a deal. It's just paint on a sheep. An animated sheep, mind you.
And when she has a bucket that falls on her and she's full of paint, your first reaction is to laugh? We are not teaching kids the proper morals.
And you are?
What has this child got in his hands? A lasso?
A lasso? Man, you can really tell this woman's Canadian. Jeez. Alrighty. Yes, that's a lasso, lady. What do you think a lasso's used for? It's used for reining in animals, especially when they're being unruly. And as I said before, more than once, the animation's about bathing the sheep. And now that it's covered in paint, the kid is more obligated to actually go ahead and bathe it.
A kind of a weapon with which to catch this innocent animal?
Since when was a lasso a weapon? The fuck? I thought that was whips.
No. Another X.
Yes, sir, 3
What are
bags
you doing? Trying to catch the animal? The animal says no, shakes this away. How would you like it if somebody tried to lasso you?
Listen, lady, if someone tried to lasso someone, then it would be completely incorrect, because at that point it's not even a lasso, it's probably a little piece of floss that they're throwing at someone, because a lasso is not what you're trying to go for. It's a lasso. That's what lasso. And the other point, trying to catch the animal, and the sass that that sheep had shaking off the lasso when it hit it on its behind instead of around its neck, that was actually kind of funny, I will admit. It was kind of funny that the sheep was just like, huh, you didn't catch me. And then you're over here all like, it's saying no, it's shaking it off. Oh, it's so abused. It's not. Leave it alone. The fuck. It's literally an animated sheep.
I'm not impressed.
1 for the day, 1 for the little.
Now the sheep has to try to stop the lasso with her hands because it's coming at her face.
I don't know if you ever went to school, that Vegan Teacher, but the proper spelling of lasso is Lasso. It's not spelled Lassu. I don't know where you're getting this pronunciation from, but I think you should be going back to school because you're so undereducated that it's not even funny, especially with the animal world and how to care for certain animals. Because again, you've brought up, oh, you shouldn't steal wool from sheep at least once in this video. And I'm just, as I said before, I'm just telling you now, not shearing a sheep is actually neglect. The other thing is, I do gotta point out, that sheep's got some mad ninja skills. Out here dodging. That was pretty slick, not gonna lie.
More attacks? Attacking animals is not okay. Leave animals the fuck alone.
3 bags full.
Can we just take a moment to look at that cow and just think to ourselves, damn, if we ran into a cow like that, we'd get clapped. That sheep just bounced off that cow as if it was a bounce house. That was so funny. I just gotta point that out real quick.
Would you like to be running and then just fall into a bush full of twigs that are jabbing into you?
You don't have experience with falling into a bush like that. I can tell you now, falling into a bush of roses hurts like a motherfucker. And it's not just gonna hurt humans, it's gonna hurt animals too. And it's not always an animal's fault or a person chasing said animal. Sometimes it's an animal chasing another animal. You gotta remember that, vegan teacher.
Must, as parents, teach your children that speciesism is the first form of racism and that.
And here, fine folks, we see a woman comparing a thing she calls speciesism to racism once again. This is not the first time she has done something like this on video. Speciesism is not actually a thing and was invented by this insane woman. And she is also very clearly uneducated in what racism really is.
Cocomelon, you must not show animals being treated this way.
Just a little side note, the reason why she's crying in this clip is because she just got done watching a 60-second video on a very biased point of view of one of the different points of views of the wool industry. And she's crying because it is actually very disturbing footage. But again, it's from an industry that isn't all bad. That was from one of the worst ones. That's what those clips were from.
Speciesism is the first form of racism, so let's make ban Cocomelon.
Okay, I do gotta say, I was there for the Cocomelon PewDiePie battle that went on for a few months there when they were racing for subscribers, and I was Team PewDiePie, but I don't condone banning a child's YouTube channel that teaches kids nursery rhymes that have been taught to generation upon generation of kids over time, because it honestly is a good channel for little kids and it does entertain them. So I don't actually condone banning them. I did think it was funny with the whole subscriber race though, so I will say I am a little biased on that part, but only on the subscriber count, not even on the point of, oh, we should ban them. No, it never hurts to have a child-friendly channel like that.
Subscribe.
No, I don't think I will.
Now, we're finally going to be moving on to a couple of TikToks. I'll be showing clips from Daz Games, so there will be more TikToks in that as well. Now, the TikToks I'm initially talking about are what got that vegan teacher banned from TikTok itself, the platform that she originated from. I will be showing the first TikTok that first got a bunch of Minecraft YouTubers fans involved in her drama, and then I will be showing the clip that got her banned.
I'm at college and surrounded by women.
Don't be scared, Tommy. Just follow that meat teacher, Miss Tofu. She'll help you find a nice vegan girl who will teach you what to do.
Now, I cannot express how fucking creepy that specific TikTok was, and that's not even the TikTok that got her banned, it's the other one that I'm going to show you in a moment. He is a minor. At the time of filming that TikTok, I believe, he was 16 years old. He wasn't even 17 yet, and even then, it's still not okay. He's 17 at the time of me recording and editing this video right now, and the fact that you went out of your way to duet a minor when he was talking about being surrounded by women at college, which is a running joke in the Tommy Innit community. It's a running joke that he goes with all the time. It's a funny joke because he jokes about not being able to get a girlfriend or being surrounded by women. It's a running joke in the Minecraft community, especially with Tommy's fans. And you shat all over that by doing this. And mind you, that vegan, what was it? The Miss Tofu thing. The Miss Tofu thing, that was literally you. That was you, vegan teacher. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's disgusting. What is wrong with you? He is a minor, even now. You are what? Somewhere in your 50s? You're like what, mid-50s? Back off of him. I know you're Canadian and you're close as hell to England, but that doesn't give you a fucking right to speak to a minor that way.
Hello TikTok, I got 2 more golden play buttons today that I'm going to show to girls if they come round. Because they do.
Tommy, The nice vegan girls don't want to see your buttons. But if you want them to play with your buttons, you're going to have to show them your fruits and your vegetables.
Ugh, I can't even describe how disgusting that TikTok was. Tommy is a minor. You are a 55, 56-year-old woman, that vegan teacher. I could care less what your age is, by the way, if you do respond to this video. All I know is you are in your 50s. You should not be making TikToks like this responding to a literal child. Making a joke like that. He is a child, a minor, someone you shouldn't even be making videos on unless it's to promote them. Like, oh, I found this cool Minecraft YouTuber on YouTube. He's really cool. I think that you guys should watch him. He's really funny and I enjoy his content. That's acceptable. I'll accept that. But what I will not accept is you making a joke like that. That is borderline P. I will put a caption what that means. That was borderline P. What is wrong with you? I can't even. You need therapy. You seriously need therapy.
Why the fuck aren't you vegan? Yeah.
When the bell rings, I can breathe in. When the bell rings, I can breathe.
Now, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Daz Games did a very good opening to his response video on that vegan teacher after she reacted to one of his videos, where he was watching one of hers and talking about it and debunking it. And I will say it was very painful watching the opening of the video the first time and the second and third time I watched it, because she is just not the type of person that you would want to see in a classroom. That lesson that she was giving in his intro, the when the bell rings, I can breathe in, breathe out, that stuff, that's not exactly a very good message because bells ring about an hour and a half apart from each other, especially in high school and middle school. So that's not exactly a very good message to be conveying.
Okay, it has nothing to do with the fact that you're vegan.
This is a point that she will never understand. Daz is completely correct. I do not care that you are vegan teacher, at all. I don't care. You can eat whatever you want to eat. But that doesn't mean push it on others. I don't mind being recommended different vegan foods that I could try, but I don't like it when someone says, you have to try this food. It's irritating. I have first-hand experience from someone I knew who went vegan, and they were shoving it on me. They were like, oh, you should start fixing your diet too and stop eating beef and stop eating pork and chicken. And I looked to them and I was like, are you crazy? Are you crazy? Because I'm not gonna stop eating meat. I enjoy meat. It's delicious. It's good. I love it. And I'm careful when I buy it. I'm very careful. I make sure that it comes directly from a farm where they're out on a pasture. Because guess what? There are farms like that, Miss Vegan Teacher.
People don't like how you talk down to people. That if people have a different opinion, you're just mean.
Oh yeah, I'm pushy and
You are. Is this not you?
don't like vegan food? I don't give a rat's ass if you don't like vegan food. This isn't about... But I don't give a fuck if you don't like vegan food. Just eat the fucking food and shut up.
That's not you? That's not pushy? That's not mean?
Again, a very good topic to bring up. Daz says at least a couple times in his video that vegan teacher is very pushy when it comes to her beliefs and her views. She has tried to make videos in response saying, I'm not pushy, I'm not pushing my views on anyone. Yes, you are. You made a Cocomelon video. I covered it a few minutes ago. You made a Cocomelon video. It is for children. It's an animated child in an animated world with an animated animal. You push your agenda on everyone and everything that is related to animals and food and products.
Oh, she's acting like animals don't eat each other. No, I'm not. I've said it over and over. Some animals eat other animals.
Yeah, and guess what, vegan teacher? A reality you will never accept is humans are also animals. We are mammalian animals. We evolved from a primal state. We had no choice but to eat what we had presented to us a long time ago. Even now, it sometimes has to happen, especially with medical conditions. Some medical condition makes it impossible to be vegan. And you want to know something kind of funny, vegan teacher? The fact that you said, "Oh yeah, I know that some animals eat other animals." Then explain to me why your dog is on such a bullshit diet.
Gotta point out as well that she brings up dogs a lot. Let's talk about your dog, shall we? Shall we? You give your dog a vegan diet. She gives a dog a vegan diet, okay? There are various videos online about this.
So this is in reply to you, Avery Butterfield. You think that it would be a lot healthier if I fed my dog non-vegan food.
Not giving a dog the proper nutrition it requires for its coat, for its health, or anything related to just the dog itself is second to abuse. I can tell you, I myself have a dog. He is fed dry food with a little bit of mixed in with some wet food. Mostly because he was fed that way when one of my other dogs fell ill and he had to get surgery because he ate a dish rag. And I will say, my dog is not very healthy either, but that's because he's fat. He's very, very greedy when it comes to food, and he used to steal our other dog's food all the time. So, I will say, I'm not exactly one to talk because my dog's not exactly fully healthy either. But your dog is heavily malnourished. If you are not giving your dog the fibers that it needs, the meats that it needs, the vitamins that it needs, that dog is not going to like you, for one. She already displays signs of not liking you. For two, she's going to end up very, very sick. And it's going to be your fault. Your fault and your fault alone. And you have to come to terms with that before you have your dog taken away, because it will happen one day.
And I fed her some animals instead. So my question to you is, how healthy would it be for the other animals?
Oh, boo-hoo! Go cry me a river. Who gives a fuck about the other animals that are fed to the dogs? Those animals that are being put into the food of a dog goes towards the health of the dog. And you want to know something kind of funny that is taught in school? Dogs came from wolves. You want to know what wolves do? They hunt and they kill their prey and they eat it. And it's meat. The only times they really eat plants is when they need to get that fiber for the help of their digestion. I would go on a rant about certain types of dinosaurs that would eat rocks to help with their digestion. Both carnivores and herbivores did that, mind you. But that's not the topic of this video today.
So basically, she recognizes that Bella, her dog, would be healthier if it ate animal product. But she's being so selfish and worried about the other animals that she's willing to take away all the healthy essentials that Bella needs.
This is exactly my point. Not giving your dog the proper nutrition is not a good thing. It is, again, second to neglect and abuse. And you always love to preach about, oh, you shouldn't abuse or neglect animals, yet you do it to your own dog. If you wanted to have a pet that was fully vegan, get a goddamn rabbit or a hamster. Get one of those two. They don't eat meat, but dogs do. 'Cause guess what they came from? Wolves. I have a rabbit. I personally, Ender Dragon does gaming herself. I have a rabbit. I feed her the essentials every single day, and not a single one of it is meat. None of it is meat. If you wanted a vegan pet, get an herbivore. Do not get an omnivorous or carnivorous animal for a pet. This is her dog Bella right here. I still cannot and will never be able to express the amount of absolute rage that pulses through my veins every single time I hear the name That Vegan Teacher or just straight vegan teacher. Because she is so unbelievably blind to the world that it makes it hard for me to comprehend that she's human. She is a human being with the firm belief that we shouldn't be harming animals. I agree. Don't hurt them for no reason. Don't give them unnecessary suffering. But that doesn't mean you have the right to fucking neglect your own animal for your beliefs. You do not have that right. Your dog deserves to have the proper nutrition she deserves, and yet you ignore all of that solely because, oh, it's not right to feed animals to other animals. I'm not buying animal products. I don't give a rat's ass. I'm going to say exactly your words. I don't give a rat's ass. You are vegan. Your dog is not. Your dog is omnivorous. So are humans, but humans can actually survive off of a fully vegan diet if we really, really wanted to or needed to. Because there are stand-ins that humans can have for meat. It's not a very sustainable lifestyle because you're missing out on so much protein, and you need that in your system to survive. And the most amount of protein you can get comes from meat, from animals. Yet you cannot comprehend or wrap your puny little brain around the fact that your dog, an animal itself, needs meat to survive. That dog is very sickly. I've seen various different clips from other people's channels showcasing your dog and talking about how fucking unhealthy she is. And every single time I lay my eyes on that poor dog, all I can feel is rage. You should not be allowed to own a pet if you are not going to treat it like an animal that deserves love and affection. Animals like dogs are horrifically abused every single day. They're just one example of a pet creature that are horrifically abused. And in some ways, the abuse of domesticated animals such as dogs or cats is far worse than what happens in the industries that you like to talk about all the time, vegan teacher. I've seen so many documentaries about what happened to pit bulls and certain documentaries about just rescues in general. You never cover the topics of domesticated pets. You always go for farm animals because you don't give a rat's ass about any other animal except for sheep, cows, chickens, pigs. You don't care because those are the animals that humans typically eat, unless you live in China, because then you'll be eating cats and dogs too, and that's weird. And also, why would you do that? Because there's diseases in their bodies that can get us very sick. Please don't eat dogs or cats. I don't condone that. You, vegan teacher, I can't even fathom the amount of stupidity that just radiates within you. You know what? I'm gonna show a clip of you comparing animal cruelty to the Holocaust.
You know why you won't be vegan? Because you're too weak. You know, it takes a strong person to be vegan because you just got to basically shut your mouth.
Man, vegan teacher. And you wonder why no one likes you.
But because I have a different opinion from you, you're not adult and mature enough to say, okay, that's your choice. I believe it's wrong. I'm going to go and play my ukulele somewhere.
Again, this is the exact reason why people do not like you, vegan teacher. Because you don't respect other people's opinions. You think that yours is the only correct opinion.
Ever wonder why most vegans are women? Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. Enlighten me.
Are they stronger than men?
In some ways, yes.
Yes, in some ways, women are stronger than men. Daz is correct on that. But you, vegan teacher, are trying to bring up a topic that is completely out of the question. You are going off topic now.
Every minority group, and you know who you are. You should all be vegan.
Don't go down this road. Don't do it.
You've been discriminated against, and then you stand there with all your picket signs and in the streets, oh, you know, people are picking on us and we need our rights. And meanwhile, you are stabbing and eating animals.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
It's bullshit.
What's bullshit is you comparing veganism to basic human rights. That's what's bullshit, vegan teacher. I'm going to tell you this now. As a member of the LGBT community, we don't get very much recognition as human beings, especially if you are gay or lesbian, because those are the two sides that are attracted to the same sex no matter what. I am bi, so I am attracted to both sides. And now you're out here saying all minority groups should be vegan because, oh, we've been discriminated against and so have the animals. That's not the same thing. It will never be the same thing. And you comparing us to animals is the most offensive, disgusting thing you could do. You are a disgusting woman.
You cannot do that.
So we can't have Black Lives Matter, gay prides, nothing. We can only have animal rights parades. You're absolutely fine with those ones.
That is exactly what she wants. And we're not going to give it to her because you know what? We're not going to conform to this one vegan's points of view. No one cares about a person who is so belligerent and insistent and disrespectful about their views. We're not going to listen to someone like that, ever.
What happened in World War II? Who did they put in these concentration camps? And yet these very same people put animals in concentration camps.
Farms. They're farms. Do you even know what a concentration camp even fucking is, vegan teacher? Animals aren't worked until they drop dead. They aren't shot dead in a massive shooting right in front of a hole to make a mass grave. They aren't shot on sight for trying to escape their fucking enclosure. They weren't gassed. They weren't separated from their parents. They weren't, as children, put into chambers where they were gassed and killed just because they were too young or too weak to be able to work. That is not what the animals today go through at all. Have you ever read any of the books that were written by survivors of the Holocaust? Have you ever read any of those? Have you ever been to an auditorium with a living survivor who recounts their story? Have you? Because I can tell you now, the events of the Holocaust are so horrific, so damning, that I, an 18-year-old who just finished high school, still get upset every single time I read or hear a story about a survivor from the Holocaust. The atrocities that the that the German party committed on those people. Those 6 million people that have reduced their religion to shambles. I'm not a huge religious person. I'm not a huge fan of other religions. I don't like religion because it destroys so many people's lives. But the group of people who believed in Judaism, they were singled out and murdered just because of their beliefs. And it was horrific what happened to them. And yet you are still ballsy enough to compare animal suffrage to the Holocaust. You have the balls to compare animals to Holocaust survivors and victims. That is something that you should not be able to say about yourself, ever. Because what happened in the Holocaust during World War II is worse than you could ever imagine. I have had a hard time even attempting to listen or read the stories of the survivors because of how horrifying it is. I'm on the verge of tears just talking about it right now. And I'm angry. It's not just tears of horror, it's tears of sheer unadulterated anger towards an ignorant woman who thinks she knows everything, who thinks that comparing the suffering of animals in major industries, that it's not even all that bad anymore because of all of the different documentaries telling the public what happens in those industries. A lot of those industries have had to change their policies and are much, much kinder, and even then they still kill as humanely as possible, as quickly as possible, so the animal feels as little pain as possible. And yet you still have the gall to do that, to pull that card. There really is something so wrong in your mind to compare such a horrific war crime to something that is so subliminal that we can literally fix it if we wanted to, and we have. There is a reason why certain products in stores have labels on them. That's why certain types of meat are so expensive, is because they are pasture meat. They're meat that was raised on the pasture instead of in a cage. There's a reason for that. And you don't seem to comprehend that, because clearly you've lost so many brain cells from your point of view, your absolutely skewed and pathetic point of view that is so biased and so closed off from the rest of the world that you clearly cannot see that what you are saying, all the points that you bring up is so dead wrong, it's not even funny anymore. I'm not playing around, vegan teacher. You are not funny, your views are disgusting, and you are just overall acting like a moron. Please, for the love of all that is good, stop conveying a message that is so negative that it pisses off every single person who comes across you on the internet. It will not end well for you. Let me get one more thing across to you, vegan teacher. The fact that you cannot discern your animal rights bullshit and your veganism that you push on everyone else from real events that caused significant harm to other human beings it's scary. It's scary that you can't separate animals from humans and that you think less of humans than you do of animals. It's scary that you think that way. Because who's to say that one day, if you were given the choice to kill a human to protect an animal at a farm, you would choose to kill the human instead of let them do their duty as a farmhand, or in general just a person who tends to the farm or owns the farm even, I have a funny feeling you would choose to kill that person instead of let them do their job. Even if that meant that that person had been shearing a sheep to clean up the wool. Because you want to know something kind of funny? Not all sheep are fully shorn. Sometimes it's just to shorten the wool, especially if it's closer to the winter time. It doesn't hurt the sheep. And it doesn't hurt an animal like a horse to have their hooves clipped and tended to the way that they are. Because you want to know something kind of funny? They get crap in their hoofs all the damn time. They can't control it, and they can't get that gunk out of their hooves, which are essentially just giant toenails. That's what they are. And they have to get that gunk cleaned out or they're going to get sick and infected. Why do you think so many people take care of animals? They either take care of farm animals or they take care of pets like dogs and cats, and sometimes exotic animals too. Why do you think people keep pets? It's not just for the emotional support, for the company. Sometimes, it's solely so that person has something to care for. Or, in a good example, my dog that I currently have was a rescue from a kill shelter. He is a very sweet dog. He's a very affectionate dog. And I can tell you now, I do not regret ever adopting that dog. He is a sweetheart. And there are other animals out there that get adopted into human households, regardless whether they're wild or not, so they can either be nursed back to health, like in the case of so many animals like deer, owls, falcons, eagles, possums, raccoons, foxes even. There's so many animals that can be brought into the home when they are injured or sick, because there are so many humans out there that are willing to care for any animal they come across, because there are hundreds of thousands of people in the world that love animals. That does not make them monsters if they aren't vegan and helping animals at the same time. I can tell you firsthand experience that I have personally really wanted to help a wild animal. But I do not own the house that I live in, so I was not able to bring it in, and we also didn't know how to take care of said animal. It was a bird. I'm pretty sure it's okay, but I cannot tell you, because that's what happens in the wild. There was also a falcon nearby, so I'm assuming that the bird that I had found on my porch was also being hunted, which is the natural order of life, and you, again, don't seem to comprehend that, vegan teacher. Really don't seem to comprehend that humans eat other animals because that is the way of life. You were probably never told this, but there's this thing called the life cycle, the circle of life, the circle in which all life resides around. The plant gets eaten by the animal, another animal comes along and eats that animal, and then another bigger predator comes along and eats that animal. That's just how life goes. That's not a super detailed chart of the circle of life, of course, but it is definitely part of the circle of life. And if you didn't know this, because you probably didn't, considering you act like you were never in school and educated about this, when an animal that had eaten plants gets eaten by another animal, such as a cow gets eaten by a human, the nutrients from what the cow ate gets transferred to the human as well. And that's why it is good for humans to eat meat, because they get the nutrients that another animal had consumed through the meat, because that nutrients from the plants and the grains that were eaten by the animal, it was absorbed and processed in its body, which was then transferred to the human that ate that animal and makes them healthier and full of nutrients and given protein from the meat itself. I highly doubt you even knew that little fact there. But now you do, especially if you're reacting to this video right now, and I guarantee you're going to be taking most of my video out of context. But I will no longer bore my beautiful hatchlings with this long rant about that vegan teacher anymore. I'm sure most of you have had your brains fried just from watching half of this video, even if you did find my commentary entertaining. I will not be surprised if half of my hatchlings have dropped onto the ground in a seizure, foaming at the mouth because of the unadulterated bullshit that this video had no choice but to cover. So I'm going to spare my subscribers the time because I have already recorded and edited this video for an hour and about 10 minutes. So now I'm going to be leaving it off here, and to my subscribers, my little hatchlings, the 65 of you who are here right now, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, night, afternoon, or morning, depending on the time of day for you guys. Smash that like button with your face, and don't forget to hit subscribe. And it would also be very helpful if you would share the video with your friends, especially if you want to hear a very unfiltered, angry rant from a younger person on that vegan teacher, because, of course, there are plenty of different commentary channels that are younger than me and like to go on rants, and one of them roasts the shit out of that vegan teacher whenever he makes a video on her. But in my case, I didn't do any roasting other than these fish on screen right now, which I guarantee that vegan teacher is offended about. But I'm desperate. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!